Did you have a challenging relationship with your mother growing up? I certainly did. Like many people growing up, my mom and I simply did not see eye to eye. It didn't help at all that she was a Taurus sun and I'm a Sagittarius sun. So all she wanted was control and dominance, and all I wanted was freedom and the opportunity to think for myself. So what that left me with was a mother wound. And a mother wound is basically defined as a relationship with a mother that is not necessarily the most nurturing. So even though I have a mother who loves me, I didn't feel mothered by my mother. Unfortunately, a mother wound is a very common thing that happens to a lot of people. I have yet to meet a single person who does not have a mother wound. It is generally something that is passed down through generation because the way that our mother's mother is often the reflection of the way that they were mothered. It takes a very strong person to notice the pattern in their bloodline, to raise their hand and say, this trauma ends with me. This is where it stops. If you are someone who struggles with codependent relationships, then you most likely suffer from a mother wound. Codependent relationships are basically relationships where two partially healthy individuals come together to form a partnership around, keeping each other alive because they're not able to independently function as an adult. These are people that generally go from their parents' house to their spouse's house and who never really, develop an identity outside of marriage. It's almost like they don't know how to live life as an adult by themselves. These are also people that are very uncomfortable when they're not in relationships. And these are people that define themselves by the relationship that they're in. These are people that hardly ever can be alone because they need others to feel whole. A lot of us who were raised by mothers who either struggled with drug abuse, alcohol abuse, struggled with mental health issues that were not diagnosed because of the time that they lived in, or struggled with mental health issues that were diagnosed but not treated because of the times that they lived in, definitely struggled with mother wound. Because what it did for us, speaking specifically for my case, is that it made me become an adult at a very young age. It made me think as an adult and behave as an adult when I was merely a child, because my survival then became very much tied to my mother's survival. So in a way, I became my mother's mother emotionally before I became a mother myself. Like some of you, my mother loves me very deeply. I've been able to do a lot of healing work around our relationships in adulthood, and the relationship we have now is the best quality relationship that we've ever had. And I'm so grateful that the older we both get, the better it gets. But when I was definitely little, it was not that way. In fact, there were periods of my childhood where I thought that my mother hated me. Even though my mother was able to provide for my physical needs, and even though she was very invested and involved in my life in making sure that I became a responsible and successful adult, and even though we had many positive interactions as a child, what was missing though from our relationship was emotional intimacy. That deep sense of belonging and that deep sense of love and attention that all children require is not something that I ever received from my mother in childhood. Some of you may have had mothers who were not abusive and who were not neglectful and who were able to provide for you physically, but were emotionally distant or emotionally cold. Mothers that you felt you could not turn to during your times of distress. Mothers that you felt that you could not really be yourself with. Mothers who couldn't really read you emotionally and who were so emotionally disconnected from you that even when you were suffering and your entire behavior has changed because something bad has happened to you and you were in pain, they simply were not tuned in enough to you to be able to read your energy and pick up on the fact that you weren't doing okay, and tuned in enough to pull you to the side and say, what's going on with you, baby? I just feel like you're acting differently. What's happening? Many of us simply did not have that kind of mom. And that is what those of us who work in psychology and mental health call a mother wound. Can you relate to any of that? For those of you who suffer from a mother wound like I do, I want to make sure that you understand that it is important to heal that before you even start thinking about getting into a romantic relationship. Because a lack of mothering is going to naturally has already shaped your attachment style, and it's going to keep showing up in all of your intimate relationships until you address it at the roots.
You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.